Hey there, Tad Hargrave from Marketing for Hippies, and today's video is about finding your bigger why in your business and using that as a way to shape your niche, shape your brand, your identity, what you want to be known for. So I just finished a weekend workshop in January, and I had a woman who was into nutrition. She had a very specific type of cuisine that she prepared. And as she started to share her business model, and I listened to it, I felt kind of discouraged because it sounded like every other nutritionist out there. You know, she could do food prep for you. She could do. She had free recipes on her website. You could check out, opt in, and with this email, get this free recipe. I've seen it a million times before, and so I was puzzled of what are we going to do to help her, because if you have a niche that's kind of generic and plain, it's very hard to then come up with a business model that's going to make it pop. People say, oh, gosh, well, where do I find clients? But clients for what? For this generic thing? You know, it's like, where do I find clients for my yoga classes? Just yoga? This is a generic thing? You know, this particular cuisine? Well, I guess people were into that cuisine, but there's lots of other people offering the exact same thing, you know, so people become very generic. And if you follow my work at all, you know this analogy of Island A and Island B. So your ideal client's on Island A where they're struggling with some symptoms that they don't like, and they want to be on Island B where there's some result that they're craving. And your business is like a boat that can take them from one island to the other. So what she was saying was, I take people on a fairly generic journey from unhealthy to healthy, and there's this particular boat. But when I look down into the harbor of her industry, there are, every year there's more and more of these boats. So why would they work with her? This was my question. Because trying to just come up with a business model solution to it of saying, well, why don't you offer this and this, when the fundamental idea, the niche, the platform of it all is so, it's no good. So one of the things she said in the very beginning was how much she loved making food beautiful. And that really struck me. This happens often. I'll be talking with clients and they'll say something and then they go on to say other things, but all I can hear is that first thing that they were saying. And it was like that when she said something about making the food beautiful. And she said it twice. And I said, not telling her exactly where I was going with it, but I said, I want you to make the case for me that beauty is needed in the world. And she immediately was like, oh, no, I didn't say beauty was needed in the world. I didn't say that's important. And I said, huh. I said, could you help me understand something? Because you did say beauty twice. And I gave her the context because I'd been taking notes, typing. And I said, so twice here you said how important it was that the food was beautiful and that it was presented beautifully. But then when I ask you to make the case for beauty in the world, you do this. I said, could you help me understand? And she sat back, she said, oh, I see what you're saying. I see the contradiction in that. And she said, you know, I guess it's just, I don't want to be seen as vain or be promoting vanity in any way. I said, I thought that's what it was. She's a very attractive woman, and my guess is she's been accused of that in the past. She lives in a culture with all the beauty stuff for women. I mean, you understand. And so I thought so. But, and then I went on this hour-long rant about beauty and the importance of beauty in the world and how in many cultures it's all about beauty. I mean, you hear about even a phrase I've heard is walking in the beauty way. You know, a lot of traditional cultures are very big on material culture and making beautiful things with their hands, speaking beautifully and eloquently relating to each other in a beautiful way. So I said to her, I'm not going to have beauty slandered in my home as if it's something bad. And we had a really rich conversation about why beauty mattered and that how beauty was a kind of food. John O'Donohue wrote a book called Beauty, all about how beauty is not a luxury, it's a deep human need. So, you know, as we were going through that, I kept winding back and saying, do you see that this could be what you're known for? Not just that you do this cuisine, but that you do it beautifully, that it's about the presentation. And maybe then that could turn into you running a 30-day challenge, not where there's a prize, but a challenge of make them in 30 days, you know, make the most beautiful meal you can make. And you're going to invite people over and we're going to share our stories. And I want you to take really beautiful, good pictures of it, but everything about it beautiful, from where the food was sourced, how it was grown, you know, how it was purchased. And she'd never considered that needed to be beautiful too. I mean, she intuitively she knew it, but she never connected that with beauty. That the way it's grown must be beautiful too. And of course, as soon as I said it, she said, "Well, yes, of course I'd want that." So I say, "Yeah, they make a meal where all the food is grown and brought together in a beautiful way, and then it's prepared in a beautiful way. It's plated and presented in a beautiful way. The ambiance of the room is made beautiful. Who's there? The conversations that happen, the grace that's laid down and thanks for the food is beautiful. The toasts that are given are beautiful. Like, how much beauty can you bring into one meal would be the challenge." And then people would share their stories. And she really lit up with this. And then after the weekend workshop, I ended up sending her an email, said, "This is the best idea. What if you were to, since beauty is so important," and she was really getting into food photography, she really loved it. And of course, that's a whole other business she could do, is teaching people how to do food photography if she wanted. But I said, couldn't you find some of your favorite recipes in this particular cuisine? Not recipes you came up with, but recipes you've seen in other books or eaten at restaurants, or, and you do your own rendition of it. Maybe it's all the ingredients are the same. Maybe you prepare it exactly the same way they do, but the way you plate it, the way you present it is your own. And you make it beautiful, and you take a photo of that, and you share your thoughts, and here's why I'm presenting it and making it beautiful in this particular way. And then you share that on social media, and you tag the person whose recipe it is. If you want to know more about this person and see other recipes, here's their link to their website. You see what I'm saying? Suddenly she starts catching the attention of these people who could be phenomenal hubs for her, and she could become known for this. Now, there's more to explore there. There's a whole business model to delve into. But she wanted to be known for the boat. Yeah. It wasn't like she was using this particular cuisine or dietary approach to solve a particular issue. It wasn't like, she didn't do Ayurvedic cooking, but let's say she did. It wasn't like Ayurvedic cooking for fibromyalgia, which is one client I worked with. It wasn't that. It was this particular cuisine for general journey of health. So neither of those two were particularly specific, given however other many people there were in that boat. But there's this son, the bigger why. Simon Sinek wrote a book called Start With Why. And another book I think called Find Your Why. And there's a great TED Talk called How Great Leaders Inspire, and I'll put the links to those below the video. But his point was, people don't buy what you do, they buy why you do it. That's a big part of why people buy from you, why you're doing it, the bigger cause that it's about. So it's something to think about with your business. What is the bigger cause that your business represents? What's the stand you're taking? What's the bigger issue? What's the movement that you would like your business to be a part of? You're never going to start a movement with your business. Let's just throw that idea out. You can't build a movement. If you could build it, it's not a movement. It's a project. But there are bigger movements that your business could be in service to, directly and indirectly. So it's good to think about that. And that can be one of the things you talk about. That's one of the things you could be known for. It's not always going to be true for every business, but it might be. It might be the very thing that sets you apart from all the other boats in the harbor doing exactly the same thing, sailing to exactly the same place. So I hope this was useful for you. I'd love to hear any comments below or any questions, and we'll see you down the road.